Most people think they're lazy. I thought that too. But according to this video, the real problem is your brain is trying to protect you from discomfort. Let's see if that's actually true.
For the longest time, I struggled with procrastination. It was tough to regularly hit the gym, study for exams, or do hard things, even if I knew it was for my own good. Recently, though, I've been able to consistently take action, and I realized it actually has nothing to do with willpower, because there's a way to trick our brain into doing difficult things even when we don't feel like it. So to outsmart our brain, we first have to look at how our mind works, because our behaviors have patterns. And if we pay attention, we'll discover that hard work is always met with two types of resistance. First, negative emotions. The analogy I always use here is to think of our brain like a spoiled child. When they don't get their way, what do? They
Wow.
complain, they throw a tantrum. Our mind works the exact same way. When things feel stressful or boring, our inner child awakens and we procrastinate. Like imagining how difficult it's going to be to get started with our work for the day, start a side hustle, or study for exams. Second is our ego, or the self image we have about ourselves. Our mind does its best to protect our ego from being hurt because the ego is what we attach our self worth to. For example, if I grew up believing I was gifted or better than most people, that makes me feel special. But if suddenly I had to do something outside of my comfort zone, like ask out a beautiful woman, I would subconsciously avoid it because if I failed, that would prove I wasn't gifted and it would destroy my ego. So instead, to preserve my self image, I would avoid doing the hard thing at all. So, in either case of resistance, trying to fight against our brain's natural response to doing hard things, it won't work. But if we identify the
Just out of curiosity, when was the last time you spoke or did something that made you uncomfortable? Drop it down in the comment.
source of the resistance, we can change our approach to trick our brain into working with us. So let's start with negative emotions. The amount of negative emotion we feel towards something directly depends on the size of it. For example, the feeling of boredom would be substantially worse if I knew I had to spend 2 months without my phone versus spending 1 hour without it. I would feel substantially more overwhelmed if I had to write an entire book than if I had to write one paragraph. Our mind is very visual. It does a mental calculation for the amount of effort and struggle it's going to take to reach that end goal. So, what if instead we shift the goal? So, first tip is tell yourself you're only going to do the hard thing for a little bit, right? You're only going to take a baby step. Finishing the entire U World Q Bank is a lot of damage, but let's just do one practice problem. Getting jacked feels impossible, but let's just do one set of bench press. Running a 10K sounds really, really far, but hey,
This is actually why most people never start a YouTube channel. They think about making an entire video instead of just writing the title. That's it. Just open CapCut, and that's it. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm a victim of this too because if I sit there and try and think of a video, I'm trying to figure out like every angle instead of just making a video. So I'm trying to break that habit.
let's just run around the block. James Clear calls this technique the 2 minute rule. We can lower the stakes of the task so the negative emotions around it don't feel so overwhelming. Do the hard thing for just a little bit, and then reevaluate how you feel. That wasn't that bad, so what would it look like to just do it for a little bit longer? How bad would it be to do one more practice problem, or one more bench press? When we break apart a huge, daunting challenge into very small steps, it won't feel so scary and we'll be more likely to follow through. Another trick that's absolutely worked for me is I'll just start getting ready. Like if I'm supposed to go work out, but I'm feeling resistance, I just change into my shorts. I'll put on my shoes and grab my keys. If I feel frustrated that I have to study, I'll just open up my textbook. I'll pull up my study scheduler. I'll get my calculator out. I'm not telling myself I'm gonna do it, I just start getting ready. And usually just going through the motions of getting ready, I eventually convince myself that, well, I might as well just do it now since I'm already here. This literally happened to me this morning.
And that's one of the reasons why I'm able to make this video because all I did was basically just open up my software stuff. So for YouTube, this could be opening OBS, which of course I did, open Premiere, loading your thumbnail templates. Most resistance disappear once you are already into your workspace. So I'll probably throw up a picture of my desk to show you my setup and the process of doing my setup. There's just so much stuff to do. OBS still setting up. My laptop isn't strong enough for me to run everything, like for my video capture, or rather, my avatar widescreen, so I can have enough space for my OBS and Steam Deck, keyboards, mouses, keyboards, stuff. Trying to find the USB for all of them. So, laptop, capture card, PS4, and rat nest. So this is what I'm dealing with. I'm trying to get everything to stream live. Fix one problem, get two more. Now I see why y'all spend $2,000-$3,000 on the desktop. Somebody loan me some money. Is it overkill? A little, but these are the things that I thought I needed in order for me to function. But surprisingly, for me making this video, I'm not really using any of that other than the camera, my light, and OBS. Just letting it go. Making complicated less complicated, in a sense.
Like some guy called and tried to sell me like landscaping services, and I don't even have a house. You know, he was like, well, since I have you on the phone already, or like you came all this way, you might as well just buy it, right? Seriously, this tip works, just give it a shot. The next thing you can try is to batch difficult work with enjoyable work, or with rewards. Remember, our brain is a spoiled child, so we need to speak to it that way, or else we'll encounter even more resistance. Like say you're babysitting a kid, and they start throwing a tantrum about doing their homework. I would say, well, if you finish your homework, watch a movie, and you get to choose the movie. Batching is incredibly underrated and effective. I used this all the time when I was in school. I make plans to go out with friends, but only if I finish my work before then. Or I'd only watch anime if I was on the Stairmaster. Try to find ways to incentivize hard work with enjoyable things, and the negative emotions.
This is also very hard to do. I do this when editing. I tell myself after 30 minutes of editing, I can watch videos or play games. Usually, like I said, my laptop is not that strong. So, unfortunately, I can only do my streaming, my avatar, but I can't have the games up. So, I put my games on my tablet. I actually just went and bought the 13-inch OWN tablet. I might say it's been getting good reviews, so I went ahead and bite the bullet on that one and went ahead and got it. So I might do a review on that one, but I'll have a link down in the description for it if you might want it, because like I said, there's a lot of people doing reviews on it.
It won't be so high and be more likely to do it. Let's move on to ego now. So our ego is formed based on all our past experiences, and it defines who we are and shapes our reality. In Maxwell Maltz's book Psycho-Cybernetics, he explains that all of our actions, feelings, behaviors, even our abilities are always consistent with our self-image. We can only act based on beliefs we have about ourselves, but our beliefs have nothing to do with the action itself. For example, regardless of whether or not I believe I can run a 5-minute mile, the act of running and trying is exactly the same. The only difference is that my ego puts up resistance because it's afraid of failing. So something we can do is what I call taking the pressure off our ego. During clinical rotations in medical school, I frequently had to step out of my comfort zone and do difficult things. I had to give lectures, I had to do procedures, I had to break tough news to families. I even had to tell a 16-year-old she was pregnant. And if you've never done it before, and you know you're gonna suck at it, and multiple high-profile doctors are watching and grading your performance, let me tell you, It is terrifying. But I did work with other students who didn't really seem bothered. Like, even when they made mistakes or they messed up and stuff, they were eager to get back at it. I remember asking one of my friends how she was always so positive and willing to step out of her comfort zone. And she told me she wasn't even thinking about that. All she was doing was having fun. She was immersed in the process, learning, and treating it like a game. And that idea really stuck with me. If we take the pressure off our ego and just focus on having fun, the resistance drops and we can just start to enjoy the task and actually perform better. Alex Lowe, he was this inspirational mountaineer who was notorious for his infectious enthusiasm. He once said, "The best climber is the one having the most fun." And I think that idea truly applies to so many things in life, especially.
I'm good. That's one thing you will not catch me doing. I'm not rock climbing anything unless I can sit there and it's a rope tied to me and somebody's holding that rope and there's a big mat at the bottom to catch me. I'm good. Excuse me for 1 second. That is also one of my distractions from keeping me from making videos. My kids, and right now, one is having way too much fun on his Oculus. He's screaming for no reason. I hope that didn't pick up in the video. Let's continue.
Especially when doing difficult things. Now, of course, you're probably thinking, what if there's absolutely no way I can imagine this hard thing being fun? What if waking up at 5 a.m., running in the freezing cold to the gym to lift heavy things just can't be fun? Fair enough, there is another trick we can use on our brain. Change the narrative we have about ourselves. We all talk to ourselves, but what most people don't realize is that the words we use are very important. There are nuances in language we can use to trick our brain. For example, change the narrative so that doing the actions of that hard thing aligns with your identity. Take this statement, for example. If I tell myself, I need to work out and get in shape, my brain receives this message, processes it, and decides, you know what, we're not gonna work out today. Because by definition, if I need to get in shape, that means I, in fact, am not in shape. And someone who's not in shape is not someone who works out, and so I'm not gonna work out. My brain's gonna resist working out and come to this crazy conclusion because it doesn't align with my identity. But if I rearrange the words a bit and I tell myself, I am a person who works out, well, what do people who work out do? They go to the gym. They're probably in shape. Great, that means I go to the gym. Doing that hard thing will align with my self-image because remember,
small creators often say I want to become a YouTuber. That's the wrong frame. Instead, say I'm someone who uploads videos. One is a dream, the other is an action. So I uploaded a couple of videos. Like I said, I have other channels that I upload videos to at the same time, but I don't necessarily call myself a YouTuber. For some odd reason, that's what my family wants to say because they watched a couple of my videos and my nieces like to say, "Oh, you a YouTuber now." No. No. I I just upload videos and generally hope that people click on it cuz like I said, there's a lot of reaction channels, a lot of VTube channels. It's a lot. So I have to basically figure out a way to get my content up there on the top panel, right? Because that's how YouTube rates or how YouTube show your stuff. If you could get up there and people can click on it, then you're good. But we got to get the views first. So if you can, show me what that share button do. I greatly appreciate it. And throw a like in there. I appreciate it.
we can only act according to how we view ourselves. I know this might sound crazy, but I'm not saying to flat out lie to yourself. Obviously, I can't say, I'm a person who will launch $1 billion company tomorrow. That's just outright foolish. But this is why language is so important. The key to tricking our brain is to align our identity with the actions of the person we want to become, not the end result. I'm not saying I am super jacked. I'm saying I am someone who works out. You see the difference? One of those is based on progress, based on actions. and the other one is based on fantasy. Now, of course, we don't want our brain to be in a constant state of deception. Tricking our brain is not a permanent solution to getting us off our asses and actually doing difficult work. But it actually doesn't need to be. Once we're able to cultivate consistency in our work and in our habits, that itself becomes a snowball effect that perpetuates motivation. Consistent action leads to progress, which leads to motivation. Seeing gains in muscle growth gave me motivation to go to the gym. And the more I went to the gym, the better I got at exercising. Because no one likes to be bad at what they do. That's a breeding ground for negative emotions and ego buffering. Once we develop consistency, we'll start to enjoy doing the hard things. We'll start to enjoy the stressful feeling of pushing heavy weights. We'll start to enjoy the cognitive effort of studying and learning. And that is the ultimate goal. Definitely try these out for yourself. Those are some of the strategies that I use to get myself to do hard things by tricking my brain. If you got other strategies you use, drop them in the comments below. Let me check them out. And I will see you in the next video.
And take that in. I might say the thing that hit me the hardest wasn't the 2-minute rule or the reward. It was the identity part. Most people say,
if you want to get rid of your belly and
Jesus. Most people say they want to be successful, right? Because the idea of success is, right, profit, making money. That's like, that goes basically hand in hand, right? So they want to get it. Jesus, I just lost my train of thought. They want to get it to fit, right? So you want to grow a YouTube channel, but wanting something and being someone are two different things, right? So like I said, I am not a YouTuber. I don't consider myself one. Excuse me, Jesus. I gotta try. I don't consider myself a YouTuber. I'm just uploading videos, hoping that something clicks. Like I said, this is a learning process for me. My other content is just me making videos of doing certain stuff. Like I don't want to sit there and connect these two channels because they're different niche. So I want that channel to basically stand on its own. So that's why I'm not trying to go into full details. But that that channel is for something totally different. So I'm not a YouTuber. I don't consider myself one. I'm just uploading videos, basically having fun because I work full time. I'm a family man, married, kids, the whole story. This is a passion project for me. Right now, this is, I'm going to switch this. This is basically a side project, right, that I'm working on. Granted, I'm not even gonna say with my age. This is something that I'm doing. I want to see if I can succeed in. Surprisingly, everything that I have done throughout my life, I've never really failed at. In the sense of fail, I mean like I didn't reach the goal that I wanted. The goal of this YouTube thing is to do the 1,000 hours, the 4,000, get monetized, and then continue with each niche, right? That's the goal. So instead of saying I want to be a YouTuber, maybe the better question is, am I acting like someone who uploads video? To me, I would say yes. That's something I'm working on myself, one upload at a time. I'm really trying not to overload YouTube, right? Because all the guru says upload. Everybody says something different. Upload one video a week, upload 3 videos a day. Like it's always something different. So other than, try and fail, there's really no set rules. So Let me know in the comments what tip you actually going to try this week if you are a content creator, right? And if you're on your own content creator journey, subscribe, because we're documenting the process in real time. And I'll catch you on the next one. I need to work on my hand tracking. Good night.